Welcome to You're On in 5, The Art of Understudying.
The only podcast to celebrate the work of actors in understudy roles.
Understudying demands tons of preparation with minimal rehearsal.
Or sometimes none at all.
But it can end in triumphant glory.
In these conversations, we'll amplify the diverse voices of actors who have understudied. We want to hear about the artist's technique, experience, and journey.
As well as whatever's on our mind that day. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm an actor, acting coach, a teaching artist, podcast host, and all-around creative dude. You might know me from Nothing Special Productions Fight Night, A Little Fight Music, which I hosted and produced, and had a really good time doing it.
And I'm Elana Elise, your other host. I'm an actor, producer, director, coach, and stuff. And you might know me from Mud River Stone at Eclipse Theater, that time that we did it some time ago.
And our guest today is the awesome Alberto Mendoza. You might know him from Abraham Werewolf's Art Heist, which was at the Den. Was that at the Den?
No, Art Heist was in an abandoned dojo, and I can now admit that we did not get the appropriate special venue license to do it there. We also fired many blanks in that show.
Okay.
And the most we did in terms of like checking to see if this was going to just give it up to everyone that we are doing something in here is I remember when we were testing out the blank, I went outside just to see if you could hear it. They fired off a couple of rounds, and the person that was across the street walking by just jumped and looked over. And what they saw when they looked over was me standing out front, nodding my head, and walking back inside. So I can only imagine what they thought was going on.
Oh boy! Oh man! Well, the admissions just come out right at the beginning with Alberto.
Yes.
We're getting the whole truth. That is awesome. Alberto, we start our podcast by asking one question, and that is, what was your first understudy gig?
My first understudy gig was also the one I'm the most proud of, and that was an understudy for the character of Mace in The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity by Christopher Diaz. It was performed at Straw Dog Theater, and the theater company was Red Theater, Chicago.
Nice. It's one of my favorite plays of all time.
It was definitely the show that I had to break the seal and finally take an understudy role. I had been just, politely declining some of the understudy, not to sound ungrateful, but with The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity being a show about pro wrestling as well, I'm a lifelong pro wrestling fan. I knew that it would probably be the only opportunity I ever get to actually get into a ring and bump around, and so I had to do it, and I'm so glad I did.
Did you get to perform like full out?
I did. There was a guaranteed performance, and then an additional performance that I did not originally expect, but I did get a couple of weeks advance notice from Alejandro Te, who was the principal in that show, and he was so kind. Props to him for just being an incredible actor, but he gave me a heads up before he even told them that it was a possible conflict coming up, and he asked whether I would feel comfortable doing it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So cool, especially because pro wrestling, being a part of the show, really physical role.
Yeah.
And, but he must not have been paying attention during the process of how geeked out I was to do this show that yes, 1,000 times yes. I was so happy. And that was the show I got to do in front of my mother, my grandmother, and my sister, just like 3 generations of women, the most important women in my life, got to see me pretend to be a tough guy. It's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I first saw that play, I think it was the world premiere at Victory Gardens back in like 2008, maybe. And it was one of the first shows I saw like in Chicago that I was like, oh, like, and I mean, I'd already graduated college, you know, I'd been doing theater for many years, but like, that was just like, oh, theater can be like kick ass too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had only heard about the show. I missed it when it was at Victory Gardens. So it was just a thrill to get just an invite to audition from Red Theater. And yeah, like I said, of course, I took the understudy role just to get a chance to do it. And kick ass, it did. Kick ass, it did. I was sore for about 2 months after doing just the 2 performances that I did. But those are battle scars I would gladly take again.
Absolutely.
Wow. So given that was your first,
Yeah.
what was the next time you understudied?
Then the next time was about 2 years later in The Light Fantastic by Ike Halter at Jackalope Theatre.
Yes. How did that compare?
Oh, now that one, I just love performing Ike Halter's work. And I had just been coming off of The Wolf at the End of the Block, where I got to perform as the lead when it was remounted at a 16th Street Theater. So I got to go from that, which was a show that when I saw the premiere of The Wolf at the End of the Block, that was one of those roles where you're so happy for the actor that got to perform that role, but the jealousy just like behind my smile, but it was like genuine. Like Gabe was incredible in it. And then Gabe got to see me in the remount play that same role, and he had such great things to say. Even if he was lying, I'm so glad that he was there and got to see that, and at least said good things. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I saw that. I have good things to say too.
Well, you're talking about Wolf or Light Fantastic?
Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't
I
get
saw
to
that
see the
too,
Light
yeah.
Fantastic. So what do you what were some similarities? Like obviously they're very different shows, right? Like so in terms of the understudy process, what were some similarities or stark differences considering like I mean, I don't know the Light Fantastic, but I imagine it wasn't quite as physical as the pro wrestling one. So like process and how you work through, you know, learning the parts you were understudying.
Well, with the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity, my role in that was almost entirely monologues. So speaking directly to the audience, that just a feat in itself. Alejandro Te, again, shout out to you for being able to do that. So that was like really intensive, just talking to myself backstage, even when I didn't have to be there, just forcing myself to go and feel the pressure. You know, there's something about being there and just getting comfortable with the nerves and seeing just that reminder of you better know your shit inside and out, because you not only have to say the words, but you also have to take a power bomb. You also have to take a super kick. You also have to, you know, just not fall flat on your face on top of not blow lines that are just essential to as the role of an audience surrogate, you know, when a role has mostly, you know, monologues like that. And then with Light Fantastic was, did not include, you know, long monologues or anything. But it's funny that you said that not as physical of a show. There was some physicality, and I totally bombed the physicality like when I finally performed it, where all I had to do was just pop that stupid blood pack in my mouth.
Oh, no.
Get just a little gush, because in that moment my insides are being crushed by the devil, just using some telekinesis sort of powers. My
Yeah.
insides are supposed to be crushed and I'm supposed to spit up blood, but it just looked like, if anything, like, I was shivering and then just fell. I'm sure that's what it looked like.
Oh no.
But if anything, it was just the fun of, or the challenge of jumping in there and just making it feel natural amongst all of the rest of the cast that had already been performing the show together for, weeks already after rehearsing the show together. Just kind of like jumping in and hoping to, just get comfortable really quickly with everybody, so it just feels second nature to at least everybody watching.
Right.
I'm not familiar with The Light Fantastic. What's it about?
So the show has to do with, essentially, our protagonist makes a deal with the devil, and the devil comes back to collect. And the particular scene where my insides are being crushed by the devil, it's basically, that's the moment where, as the boyfriend, I am trying to just save the day, stop the devil from collecting, and he just stops me in my tracks and just melts my insides right there as I fall.
I'm sure with rat-a-tat dialogue and
Plenty. I mean, with Ike Holter's. Yes, Ike
so
Holter's just command of, I just want to say English language, but I know it's just like, now Ike takes it into a whole different territory. That's just the nomenclature of the Holterverse is
Yeah.
is special, so special that you probably don't even have to tell me what the show is about. If I would accept that invitation in a heartbeat
Right.
to audition. Yeah.
Totally. I was teaching a class out in the suburbs, the Chicago playwrights class, and I actually used an Ike Holter script that I had from like back in the day that we were looking to produce and then never produced. But like it was the only script that like would be remotely appropriate for like a group of white kids to do, because out in the suburbs the whole class is white. But I wanted them to get like some really good, playwriting words. But I also used prowess, which has some good scenes. It was so awesome to teach, well, not to teach, to let the kids read the dialogue and let them like kind of be like, oh, this is so much fun, like, just bouncing off each other, and the way that he has the slash is and the overlapping dialogue. It's such a fun challenge.
Great challenge, and it is another example of those kind of shows that if you were to just see it, having not seen much theater, it would just set a new bar for you as to what theater can be, how modern it could be, or contemporary theater can be. Just knowing that most people, probably their early theater experiences are much like mine. It is as academic as can be. It's doing a lot of shows that are classics for a reason, but you might think that everything falls into that wheelhouse. But then to see an Ike Holter show, I can only imagine if somebody would have seen me as Eddie in The Light Fantastic, they couldn't have imagined that they could be laughing as hard as they are, scared, jump out of your seat. Yeah. With those moments, because it was a horror play, and Ike, whatever genre or genres are being combined in Ike's work, it comes from a place of love that he absolutely, loves the genre that he's playing with in this sandbox. And for somebody seeing it for the first time, I hope that I'm sure that they are inspired to, gosh, like try and do it themselves if they hadn't considered it before.
Yeah. If somebody came in to see an Ike Holter play, it would change their perception of who theater is for.
Yes, there it is.
You know, like I can't imagine what it must have been like over at Goodman when was the play Rightland or what was the last one that was a Lottery Day?
Lottery Day. And I now work for the Goodman Theater as their videographer, and my audition, or what turned out to be the audition to become a videographer, was filming the trailer for Lottery Day. And
oh shit,
it was Ike Holter's recommendation to bring me in, and I ended up with a huge career shift that I did not expect could happen, because certainly all the weird looks telling people that I'm doing commercial video or just video production for theater, just there's that smile of, oh, well, that's nice. But
right.
how much of that can you possibly do? Now it's my full-time job, and it saved me during a pandemic.
Yeah, right? All right, so that was you've been doing the video stuff mostly during the pandemic. Like when was the last time you were on stage?
So the last time I was on stage was for All Childish Things at First Folio Theater.
I know that play. And I know Joseph. Oh, that's so cool. I really like that play. Go on, I'm sorry.
A blast to do. And yeah, and even though, to be fair, I have also been on stage even after All Childish Things in the Grelly Duvall show. If you're not familiar with the Grelly Duvall show, just I've been a member of the ensemble, but it's another one of those. Alex Grelly, the mind behind Grelly Duvall, can just ask me to be in anything that they're doing, and it's an automatic yes.
Got you. So I wonder if there is some stuff from those two experiences and any others that you can identify have helped you cultivate your craft as an actor, that you can specifically draw a line from, like, I learned this while understudying, or I was exposed to this while understudying and it's useful to me in this way. Do you have anything that's kind of like that?
I have to, I guess, credit those understudy experiences with getting me back in touch with the commitment that I am setting a bar here for myself, and I'm going to move it maybe 4% higher. And I'm going to go after that. I'm going to put in all of those hours. And my chance, if I get it on stage, is do or die. And just appreciating that, I should be approaching most of the things in my life that way, and almost like face that fear of do or die. You're never really, if you fail, you're going to get back up. It's not going to be that serious, but it's just the commitment that I may not get a chance to do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's something nice that happens when you're understudying a role that is something that you've never done before, or that you're super interested in. Like when I did Casa Valentina, and the role was a cross-dressing man in the 1960s. I had never really done that kind of full drag transformation type of thing. And thank God I didn't have to do my own makeup or anything like that. But, that was a huge thing for me to be like, oh, I really want to do that. I mean, like, most of my dream roles are like, Hedwig and Rocky Horror. And so this was a big one. And I was understudying my friend Patrick Burns, who we're going to have on the show soon. And our director was Michael Graham, and all these people that I really respect and love to work with. And yeah, that bumped me up to like do the work like I had never done the work before. And it was a huge role and a huge responsibility. and I think especially with you and Chad Deity first, and then did you do the Life Fantastic after A Wolf on at the
End of the Block?
Yeah,
That
one.
I did. I did do
Oh, okay.
The Life Fantastic after The Wolf at the End of the Block. And I hope that it was based on the strength of the performance of The Wolf at the End of the Block, that they felt, confident that I could slip in as an understudy, kind of last minute too. I never,
Mhm.
and
Was it?
which is probably a common, occurrence, I'm
It
sure,
was
for a
last
lot of
minute?
understudies. Yeah. I'm sure that's a common occurrence across lots of different understudies when they, hear that somebody has dropped out. You don't get the details, but hey, we need you in a couple of weeks. You just jump in. Yeah.
You got a couple weeks. I've gotten night before twice
Oh.
when I wasn't even anywhere near being an understudy for these couple of things. So I wish I had a couple weeks.
Yeah. Was that a few weeks before rehearsal started or a few weeks before performances?
It was, if I remember, it had to be definitely. Actually, I think I had more even than a couple of weeks. So it's like trying to make myself sound like the best. But no, I did get some time to prepare for it. I was filling in for, the original understudy they had for that role. And it was just one where they told me about it as I was wrapping up The Wolf at the End of the Block, and then just picked up the script and started working on it.
That's nice when that happens like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
I
nice.
love when I don't audition for a role and then I get offered an understudy, because then there's like no bad feelings about like, why didn't you cast me?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, I am available. I'll
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm discretionary with the shows I take as a principal, so I would be even more discretionary with what I take as understudy. But also, I don't want people to think I'm full of myself. So
Sure. No, I mean, well, that's I think there's a lot of actors. Once you've been here for about 10 years, the understudy role that I get offered, like, it better be a play that I love. It better be a role that is special. Like, I'm not gonna just take anything.
yeah.
Especially to go through that limbo of stress,
Yeah, with either of those shows, you knew that you were gonna have a performance when you were offered the understudy role.
I did. So it probably had to do a lot with why. Sure, I am a big pro wrestling fan. That's why I wanted to do the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity, but also I felt better knowing that I was going to have a guaranteed performance. It really helped make the decision for me.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to live. I don't want that. I have enough of my own personal, struggle to just relax and be like okay with not doing something right now. So to have this big question, hanging over of will I go on stage, hanging over my head, would definitely just make that like worse. I wouldn't be able to relax at all because it's like, oh no, maybe I need to be stressing about these lines. I don't know.
Yeah. Have you understudied other things?
And no, those are my only two, and they played such a big part in, like, again, what became a big career shift for me. It was working on those shows and having the off time, the downtime, to then start thinking, how can I start maybe recording some videos back here, creating a trailer for this show, and just taking it upon myself to make a little just video that then I put up on Instagram. And you know how Instagram kind of turns into people's portfolio sometimes of like, hey, this is what I'm up to. And that got the ball rolling, and requests started to come in from companies to make trailers for them. And and now I'm commercial video producer.
Right. That's so awesome. But that's very interesting though, right? This evolution. I mean, and sometimes we
Right.
talk about like what we would do if we weren't artists and being able to engage in this particular art in another arena that you also enjoy, like that is it's interesting because I have been learning ASL for quite some time, and I want to interpret, but I don't want to interpret theater. Right? Like I kind of want to interpret in the mental health field like that. Like if I could just pick a place to do ASL, like that's kind of where I want to be, which is weird. And I don't know, but like I find it, and I'd love to go to a performance that has the interpreter, right? Like I want to see it. I want to be there. But for me, there's a certain kind of separation. So I have a lot of respect and excitement for your ability to do this other thing that you love doing and are obviously very good at, and for it to have been organically implemented into your life in the way that it has, that gives me goosebumps. Like, congratulations to you for all of that. I think that's fantastic.
And probably why I would encourage others, for folks listening, to take those chances, take those opportunities, and make the most of them, even if it isn't directly related to the actual, performance, if you get to do it or not. But really just take advantage of, exhausting all of, I want to say, not exhaust your options, exhaust your interests.
Because you don't even know. Yeah, for sure.
More with Alberto Mendoza after this break. Hey everybody! Elana and I did a show last year, Here Lies Henry by Daniel McIver. I was in it, Elana directed it, it was pretty good. And it is now streaming on BroadwayWorld.com.
In order to get the information for the show, go to interrobangtheater.com and you can see all the information, including the program. But you click on the ticket link, that'll take you to Broadway World, and you can get your ticket.
Through February 25th.
And if you buy your ticket on February 25th, you can watch it through March 4th. But you gotta get your ticket.
Yep.
Have fun. Enjoy it. Enjoy the show.
Okay.
Welcome back from the break we took. We're still talking with Alberto Mendoza, and now it's time for the breakdown. And this week, we are asking a question of the week, and that, Alberto, is, what's your favorite tongue twister or vocal warm-up?
Oh, gosh. Well, I always forget the tongue twisters, but I am a sucker for the clasping your hands together, just holding your sort of fists out in front of you and giving yourself just shake. I feel like multiple birds with one stone, are being hit with something like that. Yeah. It's a shakeout and a vocal warm-up.
That's a good one.
That's fantastic. That is one of my favorites too. I wouldn't have thought of it for this, but I will do that. If I don't get to do anything else at all, I will do that.
Yeah.
It's so great. Sometimes I do it in preparation for other things that I'm not about to go on stage about, it's just good. It gets your blood pumping, and I love it. That tickles me that you said that. 'Cause of course that kind of thing wasn't at all what we had in mind. And so I feel like the question was even more rewarding because we got a surprise.
I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad I could provide that, because it has been just like I've been reconnected with that myself during the pandemic, because to be honest, there are days that I forget, I haven't uttered a word out loud to anybody. And now I am about to, have this video chat, and I can't be sounding like I'm, 12 years old all over again with my voice breaking or, anything like that. So I need to just warm myself up, hear my voice, hate my voice for that little moment, and then get used to it again and feel like I'm myself.
Have you guys ever startled yourself the first time you speak in a day? After having not spoken? I tend to talk to myself frequently. It's not a big deal. But for whatever reason, I may not have. The first time I speak, I am it's that's what I sound like. That's me today, but it's just this little millisecond of startle. What's that?
Yeah.
Like,
How
it's a
has
real.
it been? How has it been then recording a podcast and listening to your own voice just right in your ears like that in your headphones?
I don't want to talk about
Nah.
it.
Well, I'll say I've gotten very used to it now, because I've been recording voiceover auditions for God knows how long,
Scott,
and
you have got to be killing that. You've got a great voice.
yeah, thank you. We're still trying to book something, but but like everything happens in its time.
Yeah.
But I've gotten in a really good habit of doing vocal warm ups in the shower, like almost
Mhm.
every day. And the vocal warm ups that I've been doing are mostly for like singing. So it's a lot of like hummas and that kind of stuff, scales. So I have this playlist on my phone that are all just like the vocal warm ups that I worked with my vocal coach Gwen Clemens, who is awesome. And then at the end of the playlist, I'll put like whatever song I'm working on. So like earlier this summer, I did a new song for my Chicago Shakes audition, and I learned it from scratch, and I never do that, but I did. Because it was a really good song, and it was written by the writers of a musical that Chicago Shakes is doing, and I was just like, this is the song I got to do. So I learned it, and just that daily practice of singing it with the vocal warm ups. And lately, I've been working on. Oh, this is really cool. So one of my favorite musicals is Parade, by Jason Robert Brown, and
Yes.
yes, my best friend from high school, Julie, and I, we are obsessed with it, and we would spend entire Friday nights driving in the car singing to it. So over the summer, I'd been doing these like karaoke videos, which was also part of the reason for the vocal warm ups, and just kind of working on my voice because that's never a bad thing. Um, and I found this track for "This Is Not Over Yet," which is one of the duets from Parade. I rang up my friend Julie and was like, "Hey, I want to do this song. Will you sing the female part?" And she was like, "Yes, of course." So now I took her audio and I put it on the instrumental track. So every day I'm singing this whole song, and then like in the last like minute, Julie comes in and we sing together. And it's just like I love it. I love that
Mm.
every day I get to sing with my friend Julie. She lives in Minnesota, and it's just a nice thing to remind me, like, oh, man, this is why I do this. This is why I love to sing, because of the connections that I made, and the songs that I love.
I hope you sent Julie a Christmas card then this year.
Actually, her birthday was a few days ago. I left her
Ah.
I left her a nice message.
Nice.
We're gonna talk later. But yeah, I very rarely in my life have been as good of at taking care of vocal warm ups than I have in the last few years.
Hmm.
So now I do a lot of the articulation ones. I do like BBB, DDD, bay, 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 all that stuff. My favorite tongue twister. I'm very partial to sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on with a big black block. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is hard for me to participate in any of these great tongue twisters without then changing my voice to sound like a tone that would basically matches the voice that I imagine in my head. Like, what's like, I'm trying to remember the one with the dragon.
What to do to die today?
Yeah, I can't help but be like, oh, what to do to die or to die, and a minute or two to do. A thing distinctly hard to say and harder still to do. You see, that's just how I imagine it being said. So
But I think that works. Like
Yeah.
you're exercising the vocal
Yeah.
variety in addition to warming up your organ. So I love
True.
that.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-tos. I have one that I always have to be reminded of though. Like I can't share it. Like as soon as I hear it though, I'm like, yes. And Jessica Turner taught it to us during one of the runs of United Flight 232. And then we went to Miami. She wasn't with us for that, but I texted her and was like, can you please send us this? We need it. Because this is where we learned it, and so we continue to do it. But I remember the Ipswich Witch is in it, but I can't think of how it begins, and it's really rhythmic, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I have to hear it to remember it. But so generally, without the Ipswich Witch, What a To Do to Die Today is one of my definite go-tos.
Yeah, and that's one that sounds very Irish to me. Like, what to do to die today?
Yes.
I got to add that to my repertoire.
I like Theophilus Thistle, too. Coming up as a young person, do you guys know Theophilus Thistle?
No.
Theophilus Thistle, the thistle sifter, sifted a sieve of unsifted thistles. But where is the sieve of unsifted thistles? Theophilus Thistle, the thistle sifter, sifted? Yeah.
Oh,
I don't believe
That
all
was
of those
like
were
one-
words. I don't believe it.
That's so great. So, yeah, I like all that. This is a little, well, it's along the lines of what you were talking about, Scott. There's a few of us who do karaoke at each other via Marco Polo. So we just make the videos. And we were doing it on Thanksgiving. We did it on another day that I forgot about. I don't know. Oh, Christmas, maybe. And on one of those days, like I wanted to say, because we ended up with friendship song, like as a theme on one of these occasions. And I wanted to do make new friends in a round, right? Because that's how you learn that. Make new friends and keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold from the Girl Scouts. And so you always sang it in a round. And I ended up creating a round, right? So I recorded it on my phone and then recorded the second round on my computer. So like started it with the phone version and then sang the second round, recorded it. And so I kept like alternating the device I was recording it on until I got like a good 6-round layer, which is something I never thought of doing, but it came out so good. And then I was able to just send it to them. And it was fucking fantastic. And I got my rounds, even though I did it by myself. And I changed up a little bit. Like I harmonized with myself just a tinge because I'm not that good at that. But it was a lot of fun. It was, yeah. So I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, it's fun when you kind of learn like, oh, that's a trick. That's a trick that audio producers do, and it's kind of actually easy. I can do it myself.
Right.
Nice.
Yes.
How accessible all of this tech is now. Thank goodness, it came at the right time for us to just can still have outlets, even though we're missing the stage right now.
Totally.
For sure.
Cool. Any other tongue twisters that we like that we got to get out there?
No.
Okay.
Well, there is just this one thing. Alberto, do you equate vocal warm-up and tongue twister? Do you think they're the same thing?
Oh, well, they've all happened together in the same, like, okay, this is what we're doing now. So, it's like we're going to do a tongue twister and a little vocal warm-up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that we did up top, one hen, two ducks, would you call that a tongue twister or just a vocal warm-up?
It's a tongue twister. I mean, some of those had to qualify for tongue twisters.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
That's just one. He's one person. That's just 1 point for you. We have that debate because I don't consider that a tongue twister. And I grew up with that. I learned that as a very young person, and I definitely consider it a vocal exercise, vocal warm up, but it doesn't like the things like the Theophilus Thistle and What a To Do and Sit in Solemn Silence. Like those to me are different from one hen. So Scott and I have this ongoing debate.
While I see both as just rife with opportunities to trip, to literally, like, if my tongue were walking, to trip and fall. That's why I consider tongue twisters,
That's totally fair.
Yeah. I mean, not every vocal warm-up is a tongue twister, but every tongue twister is a vocal warm-up.
I agree with that, to be sure.
So it's kind of a case-by-case thing. All right. Let's get to props. So this is props, and we are going to give shouts out two people that we like for their understudying work, or stage managers, or pretty much anybody that we gotta say, oh my God, this person. Who's that for you, Alberto?
Well, it comes from the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity. Specifically, my shout out goes out to Harsh Gagumal. Harsh Gagumal stepped in, picked up the script for his role on a Monday, and was able to rehearse, memorize nearly everything. I say nearly because we were, during intermission, working on his epilogue at the end of the show. But he had memorized basically everything up to that point and figured out all of the wrestling choreography, which is something that you spend months working on just to make sure you safely do it and don't hurt yourself in the process. But he was able to pick up all of that, and I was just in awe of it. He lived the actor's nightmare, in my opinion, and pulled it off with flying colors.
Nice. Yeah, actually, Mickey O'Sullivan, who was in that show, definitely suggested Harsh to me as somebody we should talk to.
Please.
So, yeah, some props to him. Awesome.
Can I give a shout out to an assistant director?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Christina Casano for assistant directing The Light Fantastic by Ike Halter, just making that such a welcoming experience for me, and just helping me and not feel the nerves, by that kind of warm presence,
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, assistant directors, when you get one and they're really committed, like, it's just like, oh, thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I gotta give a prop to props. I don't know. Does it have to be multiple? I don't know. I'll give one single prop to Alejandro Take. I don't know him. Well, I guess I've met him a few times. But he was really great in Chad Deity. He also worked on a show at Adventure Stage Chicago while I was working there, doing I was doing the Spanish subtitles or super titles, I guess. And he was in this show, La Ofrenda. His character was on stage for the first 30 minutes of the show, like sitting in a rocking chair, covered in blankets, and he has like full face makeup, and then he's revealed to have been there the whole time, and it's kind of like pow, and he's playing this ghost who's really like hilarious and creepy, and he just totally committed to the role, and like the amount of focus that it takes to just like meditate on stage for like 30 minutes is insane. Like, and not move, because if he moves, the whole game's over. He's just really awesome and dedicated, and I'm a big fan.
Absolutely sounds like Alejandro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Alberto, what's next for you? I mean, obviously we're in the pandemic, so there's not like theater happening. But like, how are you keeping creative, sane? Do you have any projects that are coming out that you want to plug?
Well, what's helping me keep sane is still the video work. Yes, it's video work, but the connection that I still have to theater, thanks to the work that I'm doing with the Goodman Theater. And, my plan of when we can start putting up shows again is to take all of these things, all of these tips and tricks I've been picking up when it comes to video, and use it in some mixed media productions. I'm ready to start producing some mixed media theater again.
Yeah.
We have now, I think everybody has ripped off the Band-Aid to start thinking about shows that go beyond the four walls of the room that you are in, and start incorporating video that can help almost like extend the space, extend the world, and how it can work in conjunction with what you're seeing on stage. Like, I can't wait. And I can't wait to do shows that are not pandemic themed. Like that's not the reason why people are using video chat, and just like being clever about how we do that, but not remind folks of the worst year ever.
Right. God.
I've been ready for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine like anybody wanting to write a pandemic play, let alone like produce it or sit through it.
Right. We're over it, and I just hope that people don't also want to just like totally get rid of the just virtual, like the idea of maybe like how a virtual classroom actually makes things far more accessible to those that, when you think about how having to physically be somewhere can be a barrier of entry for people. And it would just be a shame if everyone was just got so sick of Zoom that they don't look back, and try and bring some of the things they learned with them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like Zoom and this type of remote connection probably won't go away, and I think in many ways it's a good thing, because like I see my family every week. It's not in person, but I'm able to see family from Wisconsin, from Florida, and
Right.
the barrier isn't there. Well, except the barrier of being in person, but the experience of being in one room together is hard to replicate over Zoom. Maybe not impossible, but very difficult. So
It doesn't have to feel lesser than, but you're right. There's nothing that could possibly, replicate what it's like to be sharing the space with not only the performers, but everyone else watching the show.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe that's something that, because a lot of audience members don't want to, be there in some ways. Like they don't want to go to an improv show because they're afraid they're going to get called up. There's a lot of people like that. So, watching movies or watching a canned performance can be more safe or accessible for them. So that's a good thing. Cool. What else is going on in your life to keep you kind of creative, healthy, and sane?
Making sure that I keep a journal to collect all of these ideas as they come to me, of the can't wait to do as soon as we can return to a stage. Challenging myself to maybe try and affect or video wise in funny enough, like an Instagram video. Which is how I started doing all of this in the first place, is I want to know how to do that. And then I would find some silly reason to make a short video, and I would put it up on Instagram and just kind of like take that feedback. But I haven't been doing much lately of that, because I feel like I kind of need to rethink what is the purpose of myself participating in social media right now.
Yeah.
That got a little dark, but
it's one of the questions of our times. Like what, especially for us as content creators,
right?
We do have to have a social media presence, and it does have to be kind of positive.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you all are doing something like this, which is just conversations, that kind of content, the things that are encouraging the right kind of engagement, where some of the rethinking that I'm doing is why would I continue to post on social media, is the guilt I feel almost of like inviting people in to see all the other stuff that might ruin their day on their feed, just to like watch my thing. Just the invitation to like see something that is a huge bummer. It's hard.
Yeah, and we don't know what that does to our algorithms.
Yeah.
Like, because I see the same like 5 people in my Facebook feed,
Right.
and it's just like, okay, cool. It must have something to do with what I liked and didn't.
Yeah, but I just want to just encourage everybody to, if you're going to stare at your phone, turn that into a tool for yourself.
Totally.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What's going
Alana.
on with you, Scott?
Oh, yeah. Actually, what is going on with me? Oh, WandaVision is going on with me in a big way.
Oh yeah.
I'm so crazy about this show. It's so much fun. The performances are hysterical and creepy. And I'm a Marvel fan anyways, so like I'm gonna eat up anything they serve. But this show especially with its like just the adoration that it has for old time TV, and just the like what the fuckery of it all. It's a really fun run. We're only 3 episodes in as of right now, so I can't wait to see
Nice.
where it goes.
Yeah, I only know about it because of the post that you put up talking about staying up late to watch it. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and then that's how I know, but I didn't watch it. But, but so thanks, Scott. Now I know what WandaVision is. And yeah, I'm really glad it's making you happy.
Well, I showed it to my 2 pod friends who are not Marvel people, and they really enjoyed it. So I recommend it if you like television.
Good on you also for dropping something that's current. I'm still like early in my queue, stuff that everybody has digested, passed through their system, and moved on to the next meal. I am still, looking for people that will talk to me about my allegiance to House of Escada from Legendary. I am.
Oh, is that the ball? Like
Yes.
the drag ball.
It was the ballroom competition that just blew my mind. I'm still just watching performances and battles from the Legendary series, and House of Escada got fucking robbed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry
That's
about
the F-bomb I'm gonna drop for this one.
You did so well.
I know.
Yeah. Alana, what's up with you?
Well, from listening to y'all, I went through 1,000 things, but I will land on a couple weeks ago. 2 friends of mine and me got on Instagram Live chat video and watched Kung Fu Hustle together. And we had the best time. I mean, these friends are Jeff Trainer and M. Dre Gavino. One's in Minnesota, one's in Jersey, and I'm here in Michigan, not even Chicago right now. So, and yeah, on a Friday night, we watched this movie, and it was just one of the most delightful things that's happened in a long time.
So with that, were you watching the movie on your phone?
No, we all have laptops and computers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So we had Instagram on our phones, and then we synced up, right? Because like at first we were gonna do Netflix party, but Jeff really wanted to be on video, which I kind of did too, because Netflix party you can only like type chat.
No.
And so we literally were like we synced up the start of the movie.
Oh, okay.
And then let it go, and commented and laughed audibly with each other, and it was fun. Hadn't done that yet during this time. I've done like in my life before. I've like been on the phone with like whoever was my supposed boyfriend at the time and like watched something at the same time on the phone. So I've done that, but watching a movie with friends during the pandemic because we can't be together, I hadn't done. So it was really, really great. I recommend it because people probably already doing it though, especially with everything having watch party apps or whatever. I'm sure people are doing it, but that was our first time.
I secretly just want to host my own like Saturday morning cartoon block where I would maybe like a la carte pick what I would have loved my Saturday morning block of cartoons to be. Now with all of HBO Max and Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu, just make a playlist that I don't know, put it on Twitch or something. Might get taken down because you're not allowed to do things like that, but just almost like secret, I don't know, just host Saturday morning cartoons and watch with everybody, with our bowls of cereal.
What would be like your top 4 episodes, like, or what shows would you put in there?
I would want to. I think I have so many favorites that I would want to pick like a theme. I think for like this Saturday, it's gonna be like I don't know, just women in animation, and like pick some of like the best shows that either have like the female protagonists or they were created by women. So you would have like Steven Universe in there. You would have the Powerpuff Girls.
Girls. Yes.
You would have, but then you want to make sure that maybe you go chronological. So you start somewhere with like Gem, as your early, as like this is an early one, and then you end with Steven Universe. That I kind of like that idea of like now women are finally the creators of these shows, as opposed to just they were picked as a character because they wanted to sell dolls to little girls, like a lot of the animated shows from the 80s became, just commercials for kids. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I like the love that you have for Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, there's been so much regressing, I think, on my part of just like during this time of just all of my comforts,
Totally.
to simpler times.
Yeah, we need those comforts. Well, thank you so much, Alberto, for joining us on this episode of You're On in 5.
Thank you so much. I, like I said, haven't been talking to many folks, for sometimes days on end. And I try and do my best to just keep my mouth shut and listen. So it's nice that I am allowed to, what about this? And go on about it. Thanks so much.
Totally.
Thanks for being here. It was awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed our conversation today with Alberto Mendoza and that it gives deeper insight into the art of understudying.
If you'd like to ask a question or give a suggestion of someone we should interview, you can send an email to understudypodcast@gmail.com.
Or hit us up at Understudy Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We want to thank all of our Patreon subscribers, especially Marcella Huff and Stanley Sava.
So I gotta thank Stanley Sava. He's my dad, and I really appreciate his support and helping us out with this podcast.
If you want to support the show, head over to Patreon at patreon.com/understudypod.
Our theme song and all other music are by Laura McKenzie.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice and tell your friends.
If you hated it, tell your enemies.
And their parents.
And their stupid parents.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.